Good evening, everybody. I'm not sure why, but I'm signed in as Iman again. It's not Iman, it's Kieran. Iman will be here shortly. He's just finished a sales call for the agency. I will just put myself on mute and we might just start with a couple of questions for me first. So if anybody is happy for me to answer that question, just pop that in the chat and we'll get started in a sec. Hey Martin, who's just joined and popped it in the chat. We haven't started yet. We're just waiting for a man to join. He's just behind on a sales call. So it's just me for now. But I'll just repeat it again. If anybody's happy for me to answer a question while we're waiting for a man, let me know and I'll get on it. We can start actually with Farhad, who has asked in the chat, how do you qualify leads before even reaching out? Like, how do you know if they can afford it or not? So obviously in this instance, it depends on what level that you're operating at as an agency and how, what's that I'm looking for? How selective you can be. There are a couple of hard and fast rules. So let's say you're working in the e-commerce space and you've got a long list of clients. Maybe you've used like an IP tool to narrow it down. Then the first port of call is the website. And when you go on the website, you want to have a look at some simple common sense things like, does it look like it's been professionally designed? Does it look like it's a bespoke website, or does it look, I'll get you on in a sec, Martin. Does it look like it has been copied from a Shopify theme? Or is there a privacy policy? Are there terms and conditions? Do they have a Facebook pixel installed? Then when you go on their social media and you have a look at their Instagram, you want to know if they're posting regularly. Do they have high quality content, or does it look like it's been shot on a phone, for example? Is it just pack shots? And then you can do a bit more in-depth digging, but it's very difficult to find out company financials, even in the UK where it's super transparent. So it's more a gut feeling than anything else with clients. You can broadly see if somebody's active in marketing, and it means that they have a marketing budget. You know, if they're running Google ads, if they're already running Facebook ads, anything like that is a pretty good indication. Adrian has just said he can't hear anything. Have I just been speaking to myself, or can people hear me? Just in case. Perfect. So in terms of size of company you want to stay away from, personally, I'd say anything over kind of 10 employees is getting to the point where you have a pretty strong division of labor there, where you have a marketing department or an individual rather than being able to go to the top decision maker. Definitely stay away from anything kind of over 25. That's where you're getting into mega corporate territory. Martin, I'm going to allow you to talk. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I've got an interesting guy. He's like a financial commentator / investor, and he's been running like a financial commentary, like a daily newsletter. And now I'm talking to him to kind of convince him to do like a subscription structure. And he already started doing that. He improved his website. He's got a few thousand people right now on this newsletter. And now the question will be how to sell it. What's the price points? I know this is a good quality. He used to work in Bloomberg. He's a really good guy. He's got really good insights in the markets. It's also not like an investment thing. It's more like a news thing about the markets, about the financial side of things, a little bit of politics as well. So I just don't know. I'm not sure how to structure that in terms of pricing, how to market that. Probably through some funnel, but yeah, it's a really interesting problem to solve.
Okay, so it would be a paid newsletter.
It seems like that, yeah. But obviously, to be fair, like I would like to structure it so there's like an entry point, and obviously there are some maybe some upsells there as well. But I don't want to as well because he's doing like a daily newsletter. He's doing a lot of research and he's a really good guy. He wrote a few books as well. I just want to monetize it somehow.
Got it. Okay. Have you heard of the Motley Fool, the trading company?
Which one?
The Motley Fool. I'll pop the link in the chat now.
Okay.
Oh, the website for them, fool.co.uk. I will be popping in the chat now. That's quite a similar business model in that they offer like paid newsletters and tips for trading. So you can have a look at that in terms of how they're marketing currently in their price structure. I suspect some sort of a freemium model would work best there, where everybody still gets a newsletter on a daily basis, but maybe they get a summary and to read the full article or his tip or something like that. They have to click through and register on the website and pay to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking because obviously he's got other things to do. He's very busy, so it's gonna be very light on time. But we just want to kind of monetize. So I was thinking maybe like a subscription of like very low, like say $9.99 or something like that.
Yeah.
Just to get people, because this is more like for like bankers, investors, like people who know this stuff. It's not like mass market thing that everyone's gonna read. So I'm just wondering, because the freemium thing, like obviously good, he's doing the work, so he's putting like daily news. But then what can we do like for this premium offer? There's not much. So there would need to be something to be sold upfront, maybe like 7-day free trial or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't have much more time to do anything else on a daily basis, then you either monetize the existing newsletter, or sell super high level stuff. For example, one-on-one calls, and then you just have the newsletter as the vehicle to get there. Failing that, though, yeah, I would try and do the freemium model for that. But have a look at the Motley's funnel now, the fool.co.uk that I've popped in the chat, see what they're doing, see how they're selling it, and do some research around on other ones like that. It's not something I've personally experienced off the top of my head. That was really the only one that came to mind.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the pricing? Would like $9.99 work for Facebook, for example?
Yeah, you can really charge as much as you want on. Yeah, it's not like Facebook is prohibitive of certain marketing points. You just have different challenges at each one. $9.99 a month is going to be very easy in terms of getting people on board, but then you're dealing with the mass market. But people forget about it. There's kind of pros and cons of subscriptions. You can go even lower and then tier it even more. So you have, $2.99 a month, or you can pay for special access to some sort of Facebook group, anything like that, where you can kind of eke a bit more value out of him without without taking too much of his time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. I'll have a look at that Motley Fool. Thank you.
Perfect. Amazing. Thanks, Martin.
Thanks.
Paul, you have some copy-related questions, and I'm going to get you back on for a man to talk health, even though I am the healthiest man you'll ever meet, and I'm personally insulted by that, but I'll get over it, don't worry.
Yes, absolutely do. First of all, how you doing? How have you been? It's been a minute.
Good to speak to you.
Yeah, you as well. So when it comes to copy, we onboarded a couple of clients now. So it's all sort of going, I'm tackling sort of situations that I've never faced before. Just for some context, I ran a creative agency prior and now of course sort of pivoted into this hybrid agency with a focus on ads, and I'm taking care of copy. Now I have a lot of written experience, but how would you recommend if you were to say sort of one good direct resource as to structuring copy? And you personally, when you go about writing copy, what's sort of your strategy? Do you look upon call to action, what the actual campaign is all about? What's sort of your thought process when it comes to that? And in terms of sharpening the saw, where would you get started in terms of resources?
Excellent question. So I'll be honest, when I write copy for clients now, the majority of the ideation actually comes on in the strategy call that we have with them initially. How I kind of get most of ideas is I'll be talking with them and they will say something that resonates with me. And in my notes for the clients, I will just scribble somewhere randomly, or we can play with that. So that's where a lot of my ideation comes from. In terms of where call to actions differ and what you're prioritizing, you do have to work quite methodically depending on the ad structure. Let's say you're going for the very typical Facebook ad, then the priority should always be the headline. And of course, everybody kind of thinks you want the really clever text and the call to action, that should be really prominently displayed. If you ever see a copy that we give to clients, it's always formatted in the same way. We have headline at the top, newsfeed description, text, and that kind of goes in order, because the headline is the first thing that people read. So that's what I always try to prioritize, and everything kind of flows from there. And of course, it's the same as you then go down the advert. You want everything to lean towards the next thing. There's a really good quote, which is the purpose of the creative is to get you to read the purpose of the headline is to get you to look at the creative. The purpose of the creative is to get you to look at the first line. The purpose of the first line is to get you to look at the second line, and so on and so forth. So headlines are really important. You need to keep up that momentum until you get to the very end and you do the call to action. In terms of the actual call to action itself, there's a couple of things that you need to remember. One is some sort of scarcity or timing. You don't always have to do it. It's a tool you can use, but you do want there to be some element of timeliness to it. Either somebody's got to feel like they're in the right time or the right place, or that it's a limited offer. And if they don't click it in that moment, there's going to be some sort of mistake. They're going to miss out on an offer. But I was writing it for a jewelry company today, and we quite prominently displayed that the new collection sold out last time, and when it's gone, it's gone. And that's much more likely to get people to click through and take some sort of action rather than kind of saving it and going back to the advert later. The second thing is to include a justification. And this one is a bit cringy, so bear with me, because I'm sure you'll know a lot of digital marketing, copywriting in particular, has weird psychology theories, basically to make people look like experts, and to show that they've done the science behind it. But this one is genuinely interesting. It's called the Xerox experiment, and the idea behind it is professors basically put people in front of a photocopier, and they ask people to cut in line. One subject would go to that, oh, can I cut in line? And the majority of the time people do it because you're polite. But what they did find is if somebody gave a justification for it, it didn't really matter how bad the justification was. So if you're trying to cut in line in front of somebody and you go, hey, would you mind if I cut in line? It's my sister's birthday today. That doesn't really make sense, but just adding that justification really adds compliance. Obviously, if you've got a really good reason, then do it. But how that's relevant to copywriting is if you have a link and you want people to click on it, doesn't really matter what your justification is to get them to do it. If you say in an email or an advert, make sure you get the offer below, because it's on our website. It doesn't even make any sense, but that will increase people clicking through compliance, so like 2%. It's a really good reason. then they're more likely to do it. But it's more important to have a reason than to not have a reason. That was a lot of babble. In terms of structure, so, the kind of my Bible for it is a book called How to Write Copy That Sells by Ray Edwards.
Right.
I'll pop that in the chat now.
It's on my list. So you spilled out a lot of sort of dense information here and greatly appreciate that. Now you mentioned one of the elements, I guess you could say a sticking point that's not as streamlined is my strategy sessions.
Yeah.
I noticed going into them, I have, of course, a lot of context regarding the company's position. And a lot of the time my media buyer comes in with a little bit of naivete. Of course, I try to fill him in on a lot of the elements. But a lot of that can make us look a little bit, I don't know, a little bit less professional when he's re-asking a lot of the same questions that it's like, well, you should kind of know. How would you, again, this sort of correlates back to the copy, and I'm going to definitely hit up the Ray Edwards book, but when it comes to structuring your strategy sessions with Iman, where would you go about that? Because I don't recall seeing one in the actual agency incubator modules. So what's sort of the process when it comes to that?
Good question. So the strategy call, kind of the structure or important thing happens before it, which is we all have access to the type form, the onboarding funnel that all the clients fill in. So that's kind of incredibly important that beforehand we've all had a look at that. Sometimes, if I have to bluff through it, I'll kind of be reading it quickly on the call just to get an angle on things. But at the very least, Danny Owen will always pop in the chat, or as we're speaking, just so you know, Kieran, from the sales call XXX. So I think that's probably a good idea is to get your media buyer access to that, or even just to send them an exported version of that, just so that they can see where everything's up to or any salient points from the conversation. And out of their due diligence as well, they should have had a look at the website and had a degree of understanding there. It really doesn't take long to have a quick glance at the website. In terms of the actual structure of the strategy call, it tends to be Iman hops on, introduces us all. He introduces Danny first. Danny talks them through the reporting software that we use. He books in.
What do you use for reporting? Because that's one thing that a lot of my clients are very keen on because they are bigger. So when it comes to reporting, that's obviously a huge component.
Yeah.
Is there a software that you'd recommend, or should I use the Google Sheets?
So we use Google Data Studio to display basically advertising spend and then profit at the end. It's all kind of wrapped up in a nice little graphic. The purpose of the client Bible is actually to kind of minimize reporting. You always want to put the burden of reporting back on the client. If you're displaying on a daily basis where everything's up to, they really should never have to ask for this big overarching report. They should be able to see the trends themselves, and they've got full transparency. If you do want to use something a little neater like that, it's all packaged up in copy paste agency. But for now, I mean, depending on how much your clients are asking for it, I would just stick with the client Bible. Okay. If they want a neater summary, then maybe that's just something where at the end of the month where you put it into a very simple graph. And send that over. The important thing with reporting is to preempt it on their side. So they should never really have to ask for a report. That's why every week Danny, if he's not had the client call, he will send a Loom through, talk them through everything. And the majority of the time the clients don't watch it. They don't ask for it, and they don't really respond to it. It's just to put it there, and then they can't complain, and they can't say, oh, we were never updated on this.
Gotcha. I'm not even there yet, so I'm not too worried about that. So after Danny goes through all that good stuff, what sort of, so one of the elements that I also have been noticed is clients aren't really they're taking the onboarding process seriously, but I think the intake form could be a little bit sharper. I'm using the Google Sheets sort of outline that Iman outlaid.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, like I know I had a question that was regarding landing page and funnel system. And I kind of left it in there by accident. One of the clients was like, what's this all about? I'm like, well, I don't really know. So I just told them to ignore it. It's for another project or something like that. But in terms of sharpening that up, what are I don't know, especially when it comes to of course, there's the important ones like logos with branding assets, folders, stuff like that. but there's some that are kind of redundant, like social links. It's like I don't want to waste their time asking them that.
Yeah.
So what are sort of the key principal overarching parameters that you always make sure to focus on that can be streamlined? Also, another element is that I've noticed clients were having a lot of time struggling actually integrating themselves to us via Facebook. So
Yeah.
we've just been doing that on the call.
Yeah, which is great because the majority of people adding somebody to a business manager is baffling.
Yeah.
Definitely something to be done on the call. The kind of priority for onboarding is to get assets, is to get their tone of voice as well, and to get their priorities.
Okay.
Sometimes quite an important question to ask is, what does success look like for you? Because depending on the style of business you're working with, you might be able to really increase sales and something they're already doing very well in. And they can come back and say, oh, yeah, well, we never had a problem selling that. We always wanted to focus on the other thing. That's the more profitable thing. You can ask things like, what are your current Halo products? What attracts people to the store in the first place that then gets them to add other things to their basket? Again, all of these things will become more apparent to you the more you work with clients, and you'll notice the same things that have been missing or that you could have taken out. But the priority should be assets, connecting everything up in terms of usernames, passwords, etc. And then some sort of indication about them from them what their priorities are.
Awesome. Thank you. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I don't want to keep the stage for too long. I know I've been blabbering as well.
No worries. Iman has just joined, so he will jump on health now. And Jude, thank you for letting me know. I'll sort that out now.
Thank you very much, Kieran. Iman, if you took one more minute, I think Kieran would have turned into my health consultant.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you would have been on tons of coding. Wouldn't have been good.
How have you been?
I've been good. Sorry, guys. Last thing on my calendar ran over. Yeah, sorry about that. But I am here. And, pardon?
Did you sign him?
No, I think it'll be a second. It's one of those things I literally came to because I watched the demo.
Yeah.
I had to like finish one like recording thing, and then I had like 5 minutes to watch the demo. So I watched on 2x speed. So I only got through like half of it. Got on the call and told him basically like straight off the bat, like, won't be able to make you an offer today just because it's info product business, like complex structure. So I just wanted to go away and speak with Danny first. But yeah, I will make an offer next time and we'll probably sign it.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's one thing that I've noticed as well. I felt pretty demoralized early on because the one call close idea wasn't working for me, especially with bigger companies because they had to get, authorization from admin, what have you.
I'll just go ahead and say I recommend a 2-call close to everyone in here. Obviously there's things I'm always, and that's why these Q&A calls are so awesome because there's things I'm learning over the years. There's I'm mature as an agency owner. I was very dead set on a 1-call close in 2019. In all fairness, I signed a lot of whale clients, back then with it. And I was also very dead set on pretty much only signing like sharks and whales. And this year it's like, some of our base retainers are as low as like 1,600 pounds plus performance fees. And we're taking more risks and we're taking on clients where our bases are like before in 2019, I'd like laugh at it. I'd sneer at it. But when you take our overall billable, they're good, healthy clients. And that's one of those things I matured on. I think definitely a 2-call close it's a much better route to go.
Without question. So on to health, just a couple of questions overarching. The first one is sort of an alarming element that got brought up to me. I started doing more research into the whole sleep thing. Got some great results, but one overarching metric that my Oura Ring's been giving back is HRV is extremely low. I'm a pretty young guy. I work out 6 days a week, and I'm starting to believe it could possibly be a hardware problem. So I just sent Oura an email, but I wanted to sort of get your point.
What's your sort of HRV?
Let me pull it up right now so I can get you an exact metric. It was very, very low. Hold on. Readiness, heart rate variability. 28, 30, 27, 38, 35, 28, 26, 29, 32. That's it. Yeah.
Interesting. Unfortunately, I don't know. I'll be honest, I've never heard I've never heard of one that low. I've heard ones that are like, like crazy high, and I know that's an issue. But yeah, I mean, for context, I'll say my HRV is usually like 50, which is relatively low. But
yeah, and I'm half that, and I'm 16 years old, so I don't think that makes a lot of sense. And my sleep scores are fine. Like I got an 86 the other day, so it makes no sense at all.
how are you feeling in the day?
When I get 86 is good. When I don't, shit, pardon my language. I noticed one of the big elements is I'm getting 86s when I lay in on weekends. So I get to bed early and then I sleep in until, which isn't great, 11 o'clock. And I get like 9 hours of sleep. I'm in bed for 12 hours. So that's a weird element. I think I do have a much later chronotype, so I have no idea what's going on with that.
So and then weekdays, what do you try to aim for? Like what time do you usually go to bed?
Like 10 o'clock, 9 something, and I still have a really like low sleep.
Honestly, it seems like what you're saying here, or like it seems like the direction that it's going in is you're probably better suited off to like go to bed every night at like maybe 1 and wake up at like 9 or 9:30.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like it seems like your sleep chronotype. I don't know what the actual one is, but there's a lot of very successful people who wake up between like 7:30 and 9:30.
Putin wakes up at like 11:30. So I'll mirror Vladimir Putin.
I mean, look. If Lord Putin wakes up that time, then you know what
yeah,
to do.
I'm good. Exactly. Awesome. Now on the note of detox protocols, we spoke a little while back about the whole teenage skin breakout, and that's kind of hard to control. But what did you do? I know you mentioned you did a coffee enema. What are some sort of preliminary detox protocols that you'd recommend enforcing? I just did a Viome test, so I'm waiting on those results. But where would you recommend starting?
Your biggest thing will just be your diet, like just cleaning up your diet and finding a diet that works for you.
So that was my next question. When it comes to you saying, okay, as an overarching principle, and this could pardon my ignorance here, but you say no processed foods. Of course, there's the usual culprits, cutting out chips, fried stuff, oils, sugars. I cut all of that out. I've been out of that for about 2 years now. I've had incredible results from that. But when it comes to certain sort of gray zone foods like sausages, ham, salami, pate, I know you're a big butter guy, which butter is technically a processed food. Where do you cross the line here, and what sort of
so to give you a bit of context, like it depends what lens you view it from. I've said this before, like there's people who have incredible skin and they do a raw vegan diet, and then you look at, say, someone like Danny, my CMO, and a vegan diet literally broke him for 2 years. He used to be vegan for 2 years. His skin was horrific. He was not in great shape physically, or the sort of shape he's in now. And his mood was horrible. He was like, I don't think he realized it, but like, Kieran, you remember before Danny ate meat, like how mopey he was?
He was really unpleasant to be around. Like Danny and I weren't friends when he was a vegan.
And by the way, this is coming from Kieran, who's pescatarian, so it's not even like we're all like meatheads or anything. Like we're all different, you know what I mean? Yeah. So my point here is that when I ended up going carnivore, right, to heal my the autoimmune condition, obviously I was talking to Danny, and I got like really into like carnivore mode. I was like, fuck all vegetables, like nuts, balls. I've eased up my opinion on it slightly. I still think like vegetables are not healthy like people think they are. Especially because all vegetables derive from 12 like root vegetables. And nuts like are not meant to be eaten. Like, as I said, animals, they have claws and teeth to protect themselves from getting eaten, but so do plants and so do seeds. They don't want to be eaten. Like, you got to realize seeds, nuts, they don't want to be eaten. So they have anti-nutrients in them, a lot of them. So anyways, basically with Danny, right, he went to keto and that cleared up his skin, like, because he basically used to have like cystic acne. That cleared up his skin by like 70%. And it was only once he cut out, for example, he was having lots of like almond nuts, like he was having lots of nuts and other vegetables. Now he basically does, well, for the most part, what I do, which is just like carnivore plus avocado, and he has like perfect skin. Now, there's some people for that who, you know, would not work. So I think it's really just about finding what works best for you. But like, well, it all depends on the lens you view. I have people who look at me and I'll eat like 6 eggs and bacon, and they're like, your cholesterol, you're gonna have a heart attack, your clogged arteries, and I'm like, no, like, yes, my I don't know which one's which, but my LDL is high, but so is my HDL. Like, you know, both of them, and like I think cholesterol is like one of the biggest like it's just I don't want to say scams, like it's one of the, it's just, it doesn't matter the way it does. Like I'm more concerned about someone who fucks their adrenal glands because of the amount of insulin spikes, because they're having smoothies 6 times a day and they think they're being healthy, even though it's literally the worst thing on earth for you. You know, so once again, it's tough because you're asking someone who has a certain lens, figure out what your lens is. Once again, you look at Danny 3 years ago, you know, he thought eating meat was literally like, and by the way, he wasn't like a vegan initial, like it wasn't like he, you know, like Kieran's grown up pescatarian his entire life, whereas Danny made the conscious decision. You know, so he, at that certain point of life, his lens, he thought that was the best thing to do. And, you know, if you told him 2 years ago, hey, eat meat, it's really healthy for you, like red meat is super healthy, he'd be like, no, blah, blah, this, you know, he'd pull up this reference and this reference. And, you know, these days, just from his own personal experience, he'd be like, no, I like, this is the best thing for my body. And I can just tell you, I've tried pretty much everything except I do want to try go vegan for like, but here's the thing. If I went vegan for 3 to 6 months, it would be fine. It's after 6 months that I've noticed people like really start to deteriorate with a vegan diet. And it's funny, I just came back from my dentist earlier today, and you know, we were talking about this, like every single patient she has who have the worst teeth are all vegans, which makes sense because the amount of sugar that vegan people intake is horrific, and you know, you're not getting any, for the most part, not getting any good fats in. Anyways, the reason I'm saying all this is because it all depends. You're gonna get some vegan person who literally is like glowing and looks incredible, and they're gonna look at me and they're gonna be like, "Dude, shut the fuck up! Like you're gonna have a heart attack." So it all depends on your worldview. The best thing is just cut out as much processed crap as possible. That's kind of my only. That's kind of the best place to start. Oh, also, by the way, the biggest life hack on earth, full stop. If you listen to any carnivore or like anyone who gives you diet advice and they live somewhere sunny, just ignore it, because they don't know shit, right? Because it's like, if you live in LA, your skin's good no matter, like you have to be, the amount of inflammation in your body has to be on a ridiculous level for your skin not to be good. If you're in the sun, your skin's good, full stop. Like there is nothing on earth that comes close to sun for quality of your skin, like full stop. So that's another thing. Like, don't let anyone in Bali give you like skin or advice. It's like, well, you live in Bali, like your skin is gonna be good even if you're like drinking every single day.
Well, that's one thing I can definitely attest to. I mean, you mentioned that you were completely breaking out when you were in England. I remember like your earlier videos in your teens, and I had the same thing for me. So now I'm back in Toronto, and my skin broke out. I took a little trip a couple weeks ago, Florida. Everything cleared up in the sun. So
yeah, so for me in the winter in London in the winter, my skin would be like horrific acne, and then in the summer, not a single spot. Even in London summer, not even like I was somewhere hot. So yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you for the spiel. I don't want everyone's probably cursing me right now. He's like, stop talking about diet. Everyone wants business stuff. Sorry, school is freaking out. I accidentally left my mic on, so they got your whole vegan spiel. One last little question. Did you end up getting that Reverso?
The JLC.
Yeah,
No.
What made you want to pivot? Because I know I'm not a fan of the Reverso personally, but I thought you may be interested in the Cartier Basculante. I'm not sure if you looked into that one.
Is that their version of it?
No, it was actually, people call it the ripoff Reverso, but it was made before. And I think it's so much sleeker. I don't like the bulkiness.
Like in their version of that same sort of like mechanism.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think I still want. Right? I don't know. I ended up getting a Patek 5905.
Long haul, probably a better decision.
Yeah. So.
Sweet. Well, appreciate it. It's always good chatting. Kieran, you take care, guys. Lots of love.
Amazing.
Cheers.
Manu, how are you doing?
I'm good, Karen. How are you? Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Yes. Okay. Iman, how are you?
I am doing great. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much. Okay, so just to give you perspective, I'm into e-com space, 4 or 5 clients, making about 4K a month as of now. Parallelly, I'm thinking to start my own e-com store as well, just like you did. I'm just asking, I'm curious to hear out from you. Is it a good idea at this stage to start out a second business?
How much is your agency doing?
4K a month revenue.
No, don't. Just focus on your agency.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
By the way, if you had an e-commerce store doing like 15K a month, and you were asking me should I start an agency, I'd give you the same advice. You're right now with your agency, you're at like a 3 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like it's way easier for you to take what you have from 4K a month and scale to 20K a month than, for you to take a e-commerce store and do the same.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you mean to say I still should continue making my agency solid and making solid profits and revenue going forward?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay. So as of now in the agency space, we are currently offering Google ads as well as Facebook ads. However, over a period of time, I have realized that Google and Facebook both are different platforms, and both of these platforms have their like pros and cons. Like Google is basically a search platform, and there is limited scalability vis-a-vis Facebook, wherein Facebook we have like unlimited power of scalability. But in remarketing, both becomes highly, highly important. That's what I've realized. But going forward, do you suggest, now, as of now, the challenge which I'm facing right now is that, in a client, let's say in a month, let's say Google performs good, Facebook, takes a hit, and vice versa. Like, for example, Facebook is always giving a trouble in the past 4 to 5 months. So do you suggest going forward, we should just focus on, for the cold audience, we just focus on Facebook and Instagram, and remarketing, we open up entire platform? Or you suggest that going forward, we should continue advertising on Google for the cold audience as well, because my media buyer is pretty good on Google, to be very honest, compared to Facebook. So what strategy do you recommend going forward?
So look, at the end of the day, just figure out one cold platform that you're good at, and just do retargeting on the rest.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it's the same thing with that business question. It's easier to take something from good to great, and it's more profitable to take something from good to great than from, nothing or just beginning to good.
Okay. Okay. So as I said, current media buyer is not so good on Facebook. So do you suggest that I should, look for somebody who's great in Facebook advertising? Because in remarketing, we anyways have to have like Google and entire platforms, all platforms.
Yeah, 100%.
So you suggest that either?
Yeah. What's the better platform for your clients?
I think it's Facebook. It's definitely Facebook.
Find someone who can deliver the services that's better for your clients.
Okay. Okay. Till date, I still believe that my current client delivery system is not so efficient. I cannot sleep peacefully at night and assuming that my media buyer is going to deliver kick-ass results for all the clients that I bring in. Do you is there any recommendation from your side that I build a proper, so that I end up, having a proper client delivery system wherein I have a 98% of confidence that I will and my team member will are gonna crush the results? Do you have any recommendation? How do I build a proper client delivery system? Like I'm still not really confident on that part.
What do you mean by client delivery system? Like, is your issue that, it seems your issue is you're just not getting good results?
Yeah, so it's like 1 or 2 months the results are great, but like for example in the first week of March, all the clients' results are screwed up. So I'm still not really confident that my media buyer is putting 100% of efforts in terms of rigorous testing, and I believe that you have already answered this question saying that I should be going ahead and hiring a better person on Facebook advertising. I think the answer lies there only.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That sort of answers my all questions for the evening.
Amazing.
Thank you so
Amazing.
much.
Thanks, Manu.
Thank you.
David, how are you doing?
Hey man, hey Kieran, how's it going?
Hello.
Awesome, let me just pull up my questions here. Okay, so first question. So I know that you guys are super customer focused. I know Iman, you talk about a lot in your videos. I know it's something that's you hold very dear in the culture of your agency. So I was wondering if is there anything that you guys do to ensure customer satisfaction? Is there anything special, or is it is it pretty simple? Like I'm just wondering, what do you guys do? What's your system in place to ensure customer satisfaction and just to make the customer experiences as amazing as possible?
Yeah. So in terms of that, really the most important thing that we do is number one. Really the most important thing that we do is number one. We well, the most important thing is client results. Quite frankly, getting incredible results. Now, apart from when clients onboard, we send them out a gift, right? So before, in terms of the gift that we'd send out, it would be tailored to each client, because on the onboarding we actually ask for their address, like their physical home address. Now I just send them out to the Gadget glasses. That works well, but just like that physical aspect of getting a gift and feeling special. So I used to send out clients like cheap Timex watches, but that are like one of my favorite watches is like my Timex Snoopy. Or different different things. I know if they like something, like for example, I've had my assistant book stuff for clients before, just really small, like small little just gifts when they onboard, that don't really break the bank, so it's not an issue. So yeah, that's that. Then apart from that, it's really, so for example, on Monday we do the looms. We do the looms, anywhere from a 3 to 10 minute loom, just going over what happened. On Thursdays we do a couple line sentence update, and then we have bi-weekly check-in calls. Now, because of the looms, because of the Thursday updates, and because of the sort of reporting system that we have, really there's no point for those check-in calls. But those check-in calls, probably like 50% of the time we spend talking about 50% of the time is spent talking about, client campaigns and this and that. And the other 50% of the time, honestly, is just shooting the shit with the clients and just chat, is really just like chatting shit and, joking around and stuff like that.
Got it. Awesome. I'm really curious about the Thursday update. So that's pretty interesting. So how does that work? Because I know currently at our agency, and
Just a couple sentence update.
Okay, so does Danny like
2-3
go
sentences.
through the campaigns and he tells them like what's going on, or how does
I
that
mean,
work?
that's mainly for the looms on Monday. The 2-3 sentence update on Thursday is just, hey, whatever's happened in the past couple days.
Okay, got it. Okay, so it's just like a quick tip, like reminder message of what's been going on. Okay, got it. Awesome. Okay, cool. And in terms of the gifts, so I know that the clients that you work with, I know majority, well, I'm not sure if this is still the case, but majority are info products. And the majority of the time, I'm guessing usually it's like a sole person, or maybe they have a team, but usually it's the sole person, that's their business. The thing with me is that I work in the SaaS industry. So I'm wondering, because usually when I put in their Stripe details, they will put like the business address, like whether it's a PO box or whether it's like the building they used to work at before COVID. So I just ask the client like for their personal address, or should I do it in a different way?
For what?
So like for the gift.
Yeah, so we just do that in the onboarding,
Oh, okay, got
like
it.
in the form when we ask for everything else.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I'll add that in there. Okay, awesome. And okay, my next question. how do you currently manage your customer resources and information, like marketing resources, like images and everything? Because right now, what I do is that I'm currently using Trello, like dedicated for customers, and I have like all their stuff managed through there. But I'm wondering if there's like a better way for like your agency does it.
We just keep them all in a Google Drive.
Okay, and you just okay, got it. Okay, that makes sense. Perfect. And another question off the topic of agency, but I'm curious of what credit cards are you currently using right now, and like what's your use case?
I just use Amex. I use Amex Gold for my personal, and then I use Amex Platinum for my. Well, actually, I'm about to change to Platinum. Funnily enough, for myself because it's worth it now. But I use Platinum for the business, and then Gold at the moment for myself.
And what has your experience been like working with American Express? Is it,
Amazing.
like,
I love.
Awesome. And are you big on like points, or is that something you don't really care about worrying about?
Yeah, I mean, so like, because you can run all the business expenses, obviously through using the business card, but then you can use the points, the business points, on your personal stuff. So yeah, it's great. You can book holidays with your Amex points.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, good. And okay, another question. So how can I track my investments with the financial spreadsheet? Because currently I'm marking deposits of like cash into like crypto or stocks as expenses, but I'm not sure if that's how you would set it up because
keep it clean. Keep it clean. That financial tracking tracking sheet is just for your business.
Okay. Got it. Do you have a personal way of tracking everything together, or you just have to jump from platform to platform to see what's happening?
Yeah, I just like I've been meaning to create a spreadsheet, but yeah, I just keep an eye out. Like, for me, like most of my my investments are. And my investments right now are my watch portfolio, which is I have all listed on Chrono24, and then my crypto, which I only have on Kraken and Nexo. Like those are my only two platforms, so I just do it that way.
All right. Okay. Perfect. And what would you suggest every agency to get to in terms of profit margins?
Well, it'll go down, like at this stage, but when when you're scaling to like 10K a month, 15K a month, you should be able to, in general, you should be able to keep 80% plus.
Got it. And when you're scaling, do you see that? Because then when you have to start hiring and breaking the bank to get like those top players in the game, is that when profit margins should start going down a bit because you're sacrificing to get like really good people?
I mean, potentially, but even everyone in CPA, like we don't ever really dip below like 65%.
Got it. Okay, awesome.
And that's more because of ads.
Okay. Okay, got it. And my last question. So in terms of because currently do Bulletproof coffee, right?
Yeah.
And it's a decaf, or you're on
no, I don't do Bulletproof. Like I don't drink coffee anymore.
Oh, okay.
I used to.
Okay, so because I don't drink coffee anymore, but I thought you were doing. I saw Bulletproof's website that they had decaf. I'm not sure if like it was any good or if that's what you do right now.
I don't do decaf.
Yeah, you don't drink coffee anymore, do you, man?
Yeah, I don't drink coffee like at all.
Yeah, you never drink it.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. Only coffee enemas.
What? Okay, yeah, you talked about in your YouTube video. So what's your thing right now? Like, is it just tea? I'm guessing.
Yeah, sparkling water. I have some teas, and then if you want to, I mean, for some people, there's some like grosses them out, but it's like yeah, like it's like this is a real like fucking power shake, whatever. But it's I do like 50 to 100 grams of butter in a thing with 2 egg yolks, maca root powder, MCT oil, blend it up, and put a little drop of stevia, so it's actually almost tastes like eggnog, and tons of calories, and like that is like fucking like you got some good fats in there, plus the maca root. I mean, shit, like you're dialed in. But for some people, like they just can't stomach that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna go down the hatch for me.
I mean,
But
here's the thing,
okay,
if you want just like some really good, clean energy, just do
yeah,
bulletproof coffee or bulletproof matcha.
okay, okay, got it. Yeah, so I don't do caffeine anymore. After like one of my friends referred me to Caffeine Blues, and I read it, and I was like, yeah, no, I can't do this
Mhm.
anymore. But I'll check it out. If not, are you like what are your thoughts on like protein bars or protein shakes,
No,
stuff
they're
like
all
that?
trash. They're all trash.
All right. And what are your thoughts on like creatine, all lactose supplement type stuff for gyms?
Creatine's good. Like creatine's okay. For me and my diet, like I don't really need any more creatine,
Mhm.
because the amount of meat I eat. Um, and I mean, all the other ones are all trash as well.
Okay. Awesome. Perfect. And not sure if you want to share that in the open, but because I was looking to get into CPA like around summertime, but like I know that I spoke to Max like last year, and I know you guys have like a 3 month thing that you guys do. Is it possible for me to like get like the pricing on that just so I can like prepare my investments like when I do get in? Because I know you like I think you increased the price recently. I just have no
Yep.
idea where it's at right now.
What do you mean a 3 month thing?
As in three
I think you
installments. Probably what's
a
easy,
3 month
David, is
payment plan.
David, if you want to email me, we we can discuss that separately, just so we don't take up all of this call. I've just put my email in the
Okay.
chat there.
Okay, perfect. Let me see if I got it.
But just real quick, out of curiosity, what are you referring to? The 3 month thing?
So I was referring to because I heard there's like a 3 month like plan. Like if you don't want to like pay like
Ah,
one shot, isn't there's not that?
understood. We every once in a while we'll make an exception. But
Okay,
obviously, those are rarities. So speak to Kieran.
got it. Okay, thank you so much for your time, guys. I'll email you Kieran later today. Thanks.
Amazing.
No worries.
Thanks, David.
Also, real quick, dude, before you do it, just make sure you go
Yep.
check out the new case study for it, so you can understand, understand a little better. Also, when you message
Mhm.
Kieran, ask for the confirmation page because it's got a 20-minute demo on there, just so you understand what
Okay.
you're getting into.
Perfect. I really appreciate it, man. Have a great day.
Cheers, dude.
Cheers.
Amazing. Thanks, David. Justin, how you doing?
Hello, Kieran E-Man. How's it going, guys?
Good, good.
Perfect. E-Man, I've got one quick question for you, actually. So this is regarding your latest update on that 1.3 mil. So first of all, huge congrats to you. Pretty sick number, man.
Thank you.
Secondly, so I was just watching your videos and you mentioned that 900K from that was from 6 to 7 different cryptos. I heard you in the past talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and you were thinking, if I'm not mistaken, going to Polkadot and Chainlink. I was wondering which are the other kind of cryptos in that 6 to 7 that you mentioned in this video.
So in that is obviously Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polkadot, Chainlink, Cardano, Nexo, and then Library, LBRY.
LBRY.
Yep.
LBRY. Perfect. I got to go check that out. Never heard of that one. Perfect. Okay, that was literally all. Just wanted to see which ones they were, because yeah, I asked you a bit in the past, but it was, I think, just Bitcoin and Ethereum you mentioned. So really interesting. Well, perfect. Thank you so much, Eman. And Kieran, have a good day too.
No worries.
Thanks, Justin. Chris, how you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you guys?
Great, great.
So I wanted to start off. My first question was, how do you guys set your weekly goals and stay committed to? What kind of methods or platform do you use, or would you suggest
For what?
for setting like weekly goals, weekly and daily goals?
So I just use that the plan of attack, because then that helps me look at kind of like what's coming up in the year. Then I look at my month objectives, and my month objectives lets me map out my what I need to do on a day-by-day basis.
Okay, cool, perfect. So I'm relatively new to the course. This is my third week. and I saw that I just started practicing my script. And in the beginning of the call, you said you recommend a 2-call close now. So how do you suggest you attack that, and like how does that change up the script?
Well, in terms of how that changes up the script, then you can just go into the first call, right? And you can go into the first call and basically you just break up the two, kind of the script. The first call, you come in and you just go, hey, just a little heads up. I won't be able to make you an offer to work with our agency here today. It's just going to be a really chill, laid back preliminary call just to find out more information about your business. And I would need 100% bulletproof certainty that, first of all, I need your expectations. And if your expectations are too crazy, then I'll just tell you that, hey, we can't do it, or if your expectations are too low, I'll go, hey, I think actually more realistically we'll be able to achieve this. And after that entire process, if at the call I have certainty that we can get you the results that you want, then we'll pencil in a follow-up call.
Okay, great. All right, that's all the questions I had. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Chris. Sylvian, how are you doing?
Oh, hey, good evening, boys. How are you?
Good.
I have like a simple question to the previous guy, but mine is like, because let's say my problem is staying like consistent. I have like days on where I do like, I find 10 prospects, then I do like 5 looms, which is normal for me, and then on the next 2 days I do absolutely nothing. Like I find 2 guys and I don't do anything. Also on the side I have like university stuff and a side job, but the side job is only twice per week.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, how do you suggest to stay like consistently every day doing that? Not having like 1 day on and 2 days off or something like that.
Look, honestly, the most important thing is, the most important thing, honestly, is just doing less than you think you should. Right? Because if I were you, I would much rather, you do 3 hours a day of deep focused work, and you do that, but you do that consistently every single day, rather than, one day you go for a Herculean effort of 7 hours, and the next day, you only manage 1, and it just keeps swinging back and forth.
Mm-hmm. So understood. So let's say now I did like 10. I will reduce that to like 5 prospects, and I do only like 3 looms, and stick to that for the whole week to see how that works for me. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That was my question. Have a great night.
Great.
Thanks, Sylvian. Shahal, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, ma'am. Hi, Kiran.
Hello.
Hi. I'm sorry. I don't really have a question. It's just like a thing that I've enrolled into the course since November, I guess. And I'm very certain that I'm doing something terribly wrong, but I can't figure it out because I don't have any client yet. And I've had 1 meeting since December, and even that went horrible. And I've been outreaching. I've been sending like 50 emails a week. I've been trying to increase that, but it's almost like 50 emails a week, and it's very, very consistent since January. In December, it was not very consistent. So I'm not getting like what could possibly be wrong, be it in the outreach or the email copy, because I've changed it a tons of times. I've included like long copies and very short ones as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of confused because I genuinely don't know what to change now, because I've tried changing a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have your outreach tracking sheet in front of you?
No, I don't have the sheet for the open rate and stuff.
Like, do you know how many, do you know specifically how many emails you sent and what your open rate is?
Yeah, my open rate is 65%.
65%.
For the exact number of emails I've sent, I don't know that. I'm not tracking exactly that.
Okay, so you definitely need to track,
Okay.
right? Because the thing is, here's the thing: a lot of people, I find that a lot of times they'll trick themselves into thinking they're either sometimes doing more or less than they think they're doing. Like your brain is a very funny thing. Now, that's why it would have been very helpful to know. Like, 'cause here's the thing: December, you said you weren't very.
Yeah, because
December, you said you weren't very consistent.
because I was
And also
like,
the thing is,
like listening to the course and stuff. So I was
No,
doing
that's
it
fine.
side by side. Yeah.
no, that's fine. You know, it's totally fine. And the thing is also, like, usually the first 10 days of January is also very slow. You know, a lot of people are just kind of coming back to the office and this and that.
Mm.
You know, really that means that it's only been 8 weeks of outreach. And if you're sending 50 emails a week, you know, that's roughly around 400 emails, which is enough. It's enough for the
Yes.
sample size. But, you know, the thing is, it would have been very, very helpful to have that. Now, just going off the only KPI that
Okay.
we do have,
I'll do it. Yeah.
your outreach, your open rate, 65% is great, right? So that's
Yeah.
a great news. People are opening your email. It's just for whatever reason, you know, your email. The good news, you know, is you're reaching out to the right leads. Your headline's good.
Mm.
You're opening it.
Yeah.
Your emails aren't going to spam. So that's great news.
Mm.
Now you can just dial in on your messaging because there's something in there where, you know, it's not compelling enough to get them to book in a meeting with you. Or maybe the meeting is you know, too much of a big thing. Maybe you switch to a 15-minute demo model. Maybe you you know, maybe instead of sending a Loom in the first email, you send in the third, or maybe you send it in the first. You know, like the good news is, you know, the parameters in which to focus on.
Okay, so I've mentioned this earlier once, but so the meeting which I had once, it was for a skincare brand in the UK, and I'm from India, and everything was fine. I just I was like telling her about the website, something. I was sharing the screen, and she was asking where I'm from. I was just telling her, and she saw India there, and then her tone changed, and her, I don't know, like something changed. Like, most certainly it could be my problem, or maybe I wasn't confident enough, probably desperate for a client at that time for the first meeting, or like a combination of both. So I'm kind of reluctant onto sending a Loom because of the accent, if there's any change. So I wouldn't want that to affect without even, you know, like starting the meeting.
We got plenty of people in here from India. We got plenty of
Yes.
people in here from
Yeah.
Brazil. We got plenty of people in my basically my entire agency is the South American with funny accents.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, if it's something that comes up 10 times, I could agree. But, you know, you got one sample size, and you got one sample size in a very sort of stressed situation,
Yeah.
where you can take something small and extrapolate it. So, yeah, I wouldn't think too much about it. You know, I wouldn't ruminate too much on it just because it happened once.
Okay, just one more thing. So for example, if I want to switch the outreach from emails to be it Instagram DMs and like the video audit, so should I make my profile a certain way, because I don't have any experience or any clients as of yet, and so I don't want it to like, okay, that I don't even like have an agency, so it's just a random person reaching out.
Yeah, you can put a bit of agency content out there. You can put a video of yourself talking about, you know, one thing that you know, you could post a short video of, hey, this is one of the biggest mistakes I notice people in the insert your niche make. Like, you know, you can post and then just some personal stuff as well. That's very helpful.
Okay, that's about it. So it was just related to the outreach. So will it help to like send more emails, or?
I don't know if sending more, well, of course, yes, because at the end of the day, you know, volume does always have a big part to play in it. But as I said, you know, what the information is telling you is that the issue is within the email or the framing of the meeting specifically.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. That's it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chal. Pedro, how are you?
Hey guys, how are you doing? All good with you?
Yep.
Yeah, so before the questions, I'm gonna give a quick tip to the I don't remember the name, but the girl that came before me. Something that I know a really good friend of mine did is going into copywriting groups and just sending over your script and the specific niche you're looking after, your call to actions, all the stuff, all the specifics. And like I know a friend of mine did, and he just got battered by these copywriters, like telling him like, oh, this is not like, just giving them advice on how to improve it. So that's a way I would recommend if you don't have the best English to just get some really good advice from professionals. Can probably help. So straight into the question. So first of all, I had the question kind of like more of a doubt. Do you guys still see the whale?
At the moment, we've had to put a pause on that because with
Too
COVID.
many students, I guess.
No, it's not actually that. It's because of COVID, the shipping times and the company we're working with. It's like obviously it's made out of precious metals, and yeah, it's been
that makes sense.
Been a bit of a nightmare at the moment, so we're putting a pause on that. Also, the other thing is we want to wait until live events again, because we hand them out at live events.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so kind of like quick update. I recently closed my fifth client. So right now I'm at 7,800 per month, which is phenomenal. Now I'm having a bit of some pretty big problems with not only high school but also my parents, because I basically showed them the idea of not dropping out but going like to an online high school where it's only like 3-4 hours a day, instead of going to like my private high school that takes 8 hours per day of school plus homework plus international tests plus this plus that, which like it's just in the long run it's impossible to handle, right? Like I still got 8 full months of high school and another full year, so I've got like 2 full years of high school, and it's like 9 hours per day minimum, so it's kind of tough to tackle. So I know it's a completely different situation, but what are some things you recommend for somebody to kind of like convince his parents of actually letting him do this more like full time and letting high school more on the side?
There's not much you can honestly. I just recommend finish high school. Like
no, yeah, I want to finish it.
Then
but yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so what exactly is the issue?
I actually told them to go to a less. So long story short, my high school is one of the best high schools in Argentina, pretty much. So it takes 8 hours per day of school, plus you've got international tests, plus a lot of strict things. We go to school with a mask. You can take the mask. Like it's just a very strict school, if that makes sense. Like not super demanding, but it takes like right now there's some tests coming on, and like most people are just working on high school stuff, the 8 hours of high school plus 3 hours studying, and it's just pretty much impossible to manage. So basically what I told them is going to a less demanding high school that I can maybe do online or something along those lines. It just takes less time, pretty much.
Honestly, it's one of those it's one of those unfortunately it's one of those things like I can't really give you parent advice. It's like you know your parents better than me.
Yeah, that's totally right. I just want to like, is there any like in terms of like the legal stuff, because we got into a pretty hard fight where they told me like, if you don't take high school seriously, like we're just gonna cut off everything you're doing. And I just don't think that's possible anyways, because like I'm making like 5K profit right now. So like what's the legality of that? Any ideas?
No, I don't believe they can cut it off.
Because I talked with a friend of mine who's in the group who's 19. He's making a bit more than me, and he kind of had the same high school situation. He already finished, but he told me that if I could, so basically I'm in Argentina, like average person makes $200 per month, right? So if I could rent an office that can also work as an apartment and just kind of like have more independence, that would probably allow me to to take things a bit more seriously, because right now it's just like online money that doesn't really mean much, I guess.
No, I mean, so once again, here's the thing. It depends also legally. Like, how old are you?
16.
Yes. When's your 18th birthday?
Oh man, like October. Like I have to do. So not this October, the next one. So I've got like
18 months.
almost all this year and all the next one. Yeah.
18 months. So yeah, just look into the legality of when you're like an adult in Argentina. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, technically, you are still under your parents' control. And then if you really wanted to, when you're 18, you can just like move into your own place and just do whatever you want. So I don't know. I don't know if a 16-year-old can sign a lease on an apartment. I don't know if a 16-year-old can drop. Like I can't tell you these things. And as I said, I was in a very, very different situation where I had to build my business out of necessity, and I needed to get the fuck out of that house as quick as humanly possible. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't really tell you what to do.
Yeah, that's fine. I guess the good thing is that in here you can, I don't know how things are with that, but in here you can drive 2 months before you're 17. So for that one, I've got like 4 or 5 months, and I will be able to drive. So that's going to give me more independence, and I think I should be able to get more like an office / apartment, maybe like a 1-room place where I can work, and maybe even like get something on those lines in the future to get more independence and show that the stuff is real. But in kind of like some more real questions you can probably answer. I'm not able to have Stripe because basically my country's not allowed, and I looked into the legalities of creating a US bank account and creating a Delaware corporation and this and that. I'm able to get Stripe, but that meant paying taxes in the UK, in the US, which is not something I'm willing to do. So is there any alternatives that you know that are available to most countries? Because right now I'm just using PayPal.
I'm not sure. So Stripe isn't in Argentina?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I think there's something you can do with TransferWise where you can, or you just, I think there's places where they'll create a bank account in a certain country for you, where you're not actually paying the taxes.
That I don't know. I know the Stripe Atlas service that is like $500, where you've got to pay taxes in the UK.
You don't have to pay taxes.
In the US.
You don't have to pay taxes. Like for example, when I'm leaving the UK in September, like the latest September, I'll still probably have British bank accounts. But like for example, like how many companies are in the US but have Irish bank accounts? Like just because you have a bank account somewhere does not mean you pay their tax there.
I mean, I had I'm not entirely sure how it worked, but I had a call with an accountant over here, and he mentioned that it would have to. I don't know exactly why, but I would have to pay taxes because of the corporation and because I would be taking the money to the US. I'm not sure if he's entirely right then.
I would look more into it. As far as I know, it's where your actual company is based. Yeah, I know. I have many friends who have many bank accounts all over the world. Yeah, it's more where their company is based, and they still pay the tax on. You know what I mean? Like just because you're like, let's say you have a bank account in this country, and all the money flows in there, and the expenses flow out there. You still like that's still on your tax return. That's still at the end of the day, your Argentinian company's money. That doesn't mean you don't pay the tax on that. It just means it's held in a foreign bank account.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something to consider, maybe more in the long run, because like right now I'm not even paying taxes. It's completely different than UK. Like over here, 50% of the population isn't paying taxes. Like it's like government just doesn't really track or anything like that. So I'm not paying taxes, so it's pretty much great because like if I make like 5K, I just take the 5K. So when I guess I'll have to take care of that in a minute. And in terms of the last question, so in terms of that strategy and kind of like a media buyer show right now, we've got a media buyer who's handling 5 of my clients. So we are not going to bring him full time, but do something like pretty much a good amount of hours per day. So how do you go about like having his, because something that we've been having some trouble with is the calendar times, because I usually schedule times with my clients, and maybe for example this onboarding call where I just schedule that time when we closed him, and right now he's basically not able to come in because you had something planned. Like, how do you usually go about syncing up the calendars and being able to check out when your employees are available and when they're, you know what I mean?
Well, in terms of booking and calls, you know, you can use Calendly Teams, right? So you can add them as a user, and then you can do, like, for example, with our clients, when they book in their initial strategy session, it's synchronized to me, my calendar, Danny's calendar, Luis's calendar, and Kieran's calendar. And it only shows availability when all of us are available at a certain time.
Oh, nice one. So right now I'm using Acuity. So is that available on Acuity?
I mean, to be honest, I used to use Acuity, but it's just trash. Like, I just recommend you use Switch.
Oh yeah, I think in the course you mentioned Acuity though, right?
Yeah, once again, like, you know, at the end of the day, I recorded the program 2 years ago. I made certain switches. Actually, not 2 years ago, 18 months ago. But yeah, that's kind of what the Q&A calls are for. It gives you the latest and greatest info.
Yeah. So then I'll just stop my Acuity and start using Calendly. So yeah, man, that's pretty much from my end in terms of questions. By the way, what do you have on your wrist today?
Pardon?
What do you have on your wrist today, by the way?
Platinum Daytona.
Oh, nice one. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I had from my end. The main question that I had was the high school studation that is kind of a thing, because we'll have to see how I go about it. There's no technical nor, you know, real answer. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
For sure. No worries.
Thanks, Pedro.
Bye, Kieran. Bye, Iman.
Bye. I'm not sure if you saw Iman in the chat. Judy's about to come on now. Also healed an autoimmune disease through a carnivore diet.
Thyroid, autoimmune. Oh, nice.
I
How are you doing?
very well, thank you. No, I heard Iman talking about like a carnivore diet before, and something like healing from an autoimmune condition, something like that.
Mhm.
I just said if I wanted to ask if do you know about this like blood group diet, which I was following. I was able to like lower the antibodies attacking my thyroid, you know.
The blood group diet, not familiar. You know, what I did was just you know, a carnivore diet, and just cut caffeine, alcohol, and I just cleared it up.
Yeah, I did pretty much the same, but this blood group diet is very interesting because like there is a study beginning at the who started at the beginning of the century, who was follow up from many people, doctors, and there is a doctor in Italy which like wrote this blood diet group, you know. For example, zero, which says that the zero blood group is the oldest one. So for the zero positive is good to eat meat, but for the other groups like B, A, B, which are more reasons, like they can eat more gluten or pasta, stuff like that.
Interesting. As far as I know, I'm B, but I probably need to ask my mom. You know what? Let me. You've inspired me. I'm gonna message my mom and find out.
No, I found out this diet without spending any money. I just spent like £2 for 1 up, £3, you know, which tells you exactly. It's called Mozzi diet, you know, is in the Apple Store, which tells you what you can eat and what you can't according to your group, you know.
It's very interesting.
Very interesting, and I can say that I healed from this condition, you know, because according to this doctor, all the pasta, and I'm from Italy originally, so I was eating a lot of pasta and less protein, you know. According to the autoimmune disease was caused by the fact that most of the food we eat today is GMO, and also the grains are like has been selected since 100 years, you know, and the one been selected are the one with high level of gluten, you know. And this fact was causing like this autoimmune response, you know, which is following like a protein-based diet, you know, and like dry fruits. I was able to stop those antibodies attacking myself, you know.
Nice.
But did you have something similar? I was curious. Were you talking about autoimmune condition?
Yeah, so I you know, I ended up having psoriasis. Now there's 2% of I ended up getting psoriasis, and this, you know, I think it's something like 2% of the population has psoriasis. You know, so it's very, very common, but it's just the like severity of psoriasis. And I had psoriasis at some point with like 80% coverage. Like it was fucking terrible. It was horrible. So yeah, mine was like very aggressive, and it's, you know, especially considering how healthy I am. Like it's like I can only imagine if I was like someone like a smoker, or someone who drank like consistently, or like someone who ate tons of really shit food, or like, you know, like I do, so like even before the whole autoimmune condition, like I exercise a ton. Like the most, I mean, now my diet is like I'm 95% dialed in. You know, before I was at like 75%. But like, you know, I'm not a smoker. You know, I'll go long periods without even drinking. You know, just in general, I stayed very, you know, I do a lot of like detoxing, you know, not as much as I do now. But still, anyway, my point is like, I'd say if I was not as healthy as I am, it would have been more horrendous. But anyways, had that like really, really bad. And yeah, I just followed a carnivore diet. It was, you know, I was looking at a raw vegan diet, carnivore diet, and just the one that made most sense to me was you know, carnivore diet. And you know, even after healing it, like it's just I love doing it just because it's, you know, I don't have to think much about food. And also like now I view carbs the same way I view like caffeine or alcohol. It's nice. It's nice to have every once in a while. Like, you know, you're gonna feel fucked the next day.
Yes, considerably. And I wanted to ask you basically. I just started the course like since 2 weeks. I'm trying to go, but I'm finding very interesting and very full of plug and play sheets, very detailed. So it's been very exciting to me, you know. I've got a question to you that could sound a bit naive, I'm sure. I just was wondering if it's if it's good to start with one niche, or I can start with like 3 niche which are similar, like in the same field.
You can definitely start with 3 that are similar, and then you know, you can have a wide array, and then from there, you know, really dial in once you get some more time out there on the battlefield.
Yeah. I did the research like on the underserved niches, you know. I was wondering like, for example, those clinic or like body sculpting, for example, spa, you know, SPA. I was wondering if there is a lot of people of agency offering them services, like, for example, in central London.
Sure.
Like, how do you suggest like where to find those less popular, or maybe they've got clients? I was wondering, like you did the example of this dentist, which was doing like a lot of revenues, right? And the kind of clients they had was really high, like rich people, which they didn't need like any discount or stuff like that.
Yep. So what your question is, how to find those sort of clients?
Yeah, the clients, like the like this kind of businesses which they need your services, you know.
Look, honestly, most of these need your service.
I see.
You know, and
I'm sure I will find it when I go like farther into the course, you know.
Yeah, farther into the course, and then also when, as I said, you get more time out there, you know, speaking with the market.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your time. Have a nice day. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers.
Thanks, Jude. Usman, thank you very much for your patience. You finally got it on. How are you doing?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Wow. If I'm being honest, I was a bit skeptical. I was thinking, is this even a live call? Even though it didn't seem like a live call, but I don't.
I love it. Even after getting into the program.
I know. You know, basically, I read the 48 laws of power, and I'm just very skeptical. I don't know. Anyways, that's irrelevant. Yeah.
After you read the 48 Laws of Power, you think that your like own sister is like trying to suffocate you in your sleep, and like that book makes you on edge.
Trust me, I'm not even lying, but yeah, literally. Anyways, how are you guys? How's life?
Yeah, all good, all good.
Anyways, so basically, I'm like sort of new to the whole entrepreneurship thing. It makes sense. I mean, like I know that I want to get into it. This might sound like a dumb question. You know, in terms of like tax registered and all that sort of stuff. You know, if I don't do that, is that illegal? And can I get?
No. So basically, like, you know, so you're in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, you know, if you're in the UK, you know, register as a sole, you know, sole trader, and as long as you're tax registered, that's basically all you need, right? As long as you're even as a sole trader, you should be able to expense some stuff. So just whatever you earn minus any expenses, and make sure you keep receipts for you know, anything that you expense, and you know, just put away money for tax, and that's it.
How many questions am I allowed to ask? Like,
yeah,
what's the process of doing that?
Yeah, you just literally just open up Google and just go register as a sole trader UK.
Is it literally that simple?
I mean, look, to set up a limited company costs you £12 and 8 minutes of your time. Like with a sole trader, it's free, and all you do is just fill out some like simple form, and that's it.
Really? I thought it was just all complicated and stuff.
The government wants you to give them your money. Like they're not gonna make it tough for you. It's really easy.
Also, so you know what? I'm just at shock at the moment. All the questions I've just I've gone. Sorry. Okay. I don't want to waste your time, and my questions have gone. So, yeah, thank you. It's nice speaking to you.
Don't worry at all. That was just a recording of Eman.
Like, I want to ask more questions, but I don't know. I feel a bit mad, weird.
Go for it. No, this is just my audio stunt double. But yeah, no. I mean, that's what.
Oh yeah. So basically, I've been getting into content creation, and after watching this course, it's sort of making me think: do I sort of stop developing that skill and start learning Facebook ads, or do I double down on content creation and apply everything around that? If that makes sense.
I mean, I got to 20 grand a month, right, with having a content creation agency. So you know, you can go a long way with it.
What do you think? I mean, see, you know, with content creation, I enjoy doing it, but there's not necessarily a passion there for it. And I've been doing a bit of research, and I'm not sure if you agree with this, but you don't necessarily need to have a passion for what you're doing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Look, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily super passionate about, you know, like I wouldn't say like my agency is my dying passion, honestly. I'm just really passionate about business.
Yeah. That's what it is, actually. I think that's what it is. So you know, Facebook ads. Do you think that would be more like profitable than content, or? Yeah.
Not necessarily. I mean, you can streamline it more, but if you already have a good skill set in content creation, then go that route. If you don't, and it's just something that is right at the beginning of developing, then I would go down, you know, Facebook ads, email marketing, like sort of things where it's a lot easier to kind of, you know, relay the ROI that you're bringing clients.
That makes sense. That actually, you know what? I like speaking to her. It's been good already. I'm just shocked.
No worries.
Can I take like a recording of you just saying my name or whatever? It sounds very random, but for my Snapchat or whatever.
For sure. I got you.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna do a little countdown again. All right, three.
What do you want me to say?
Say hello, Usman, or whatever.
No.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, Usman. Hope you're doing well, dude. And good luck with getting that first client of yours.
All right. I really appreciate your time. How often do you do this thingy? This call?
Every Monday.
Every Monday.
Yeah, you can. Well, I'm on every 2 weeks. Kieran is on the weeks in between. But yeah, every 2 weeks you can come speak to Virtually, man.
All right. Thank you, man. Honestly, it was great speaking to you. Thanks for your time.
Awesome.
All right. See you. See ya.
On that note, thank you everybody for turning up. I'm conscious there are a couple of people who've left over. If there's anything outstanding or urgent, always feel free to email me or support at Grow Your Agency, or pop anything in the group and everybody else can help too. Thank you everybody for turning up, and I shall see you all next week.